Does your retirement plan need spring cleaning? Hey folks, welcome to MasterPlan Retirement Consultants Retirement Roadmap. My name is Evan. With me as always, retirement planner Mark Fricks. Spring cleaning your finances, specifically for your retirement plan, can help ensure you're on track for a comfortable future. So today we're going to walk through some ways that you can spring clean your retirement savings and strategy. Mark, are you ready to spring clean?
Yes, I am. I love the fact it's spring. That's the best part.
It's about time, yeah.
So,
We've had a lot of flirting back and forth with cold weather.
And maybe some more coming as well. And by the way, this episode is good for all year long. So just because it's spring cleaning, sometimes you need some fall cleaning.
You need quarterly cleans.
Cleanse.
Just right. We meet with our clients at the very least officially once a year. Some more than that, and then also if they ever just need something and need to run something by us. But quarterly, there's a reason quarterly statements are produced by certain custodians and things like that for sure.
Absolutely.
So number one, and it's pretty straightforward, review your retirement accounts. Check your balances, review 401ks, IRAs, other retirement accounts, see how much you've accumulated so far. Look at that investment allocation. Make sure your portfolio is well diversified, reflects your risk tolerance, especially as you age or get closer to that retirement point.
And that's something we do for a lot of our clients that are still working, that we'll review their statements. They send them to us maybe once a quarter or a couple of times a year, and we'll adjust them based on their aging, based on economic conditions, things like that. Make sure they're well diversified. Maybe they've got new offerings in their 401ks at work, or thrift savings plans typically don't have new offerings, but still adjusting. We even have a list of clients we will send recommendations to once a quarter to adjust those as well. Not trying to time the market, just trying to adjust based on, again, what's going on in the markets, but also what's going on in their lives as well as they get older, like you said. And don't forget to check out, and we may talk about this later as well, Roth options. Many of the 401ks, you may not be aware, have a Roth option. We're not going to educate today about Roths and the differences, but we are big proponents of Roths. Make sure that you're participating at least some of your money into the Roth portion of your 401k. So check that out. I know the thrift savings plan for our federal workers that are listening definitely has a Roth option as well. So check that out.
And when you look at those statements, try to, if you don't really know what you're in, maybe there will be a series of mutual funds. You can Google those mutual funds and see their performance, where they're allocated, their risk level. If you're getting closer to retirement, you might not realize that you have some pretty risky mutual funds in there that would be more appropriate for someone in their 30s or 40s. Or let's say you are in your 30s or 40s and you don't realize how much you have in your 401k that's actually still only in a cash position. Those are things that you want to look at. Also consider your contribution limits for the year.
Yeah, and they change almost every year. They get a little bit higher, and if you're maxing out now, you might want to bump those up. Speaking of, as far as performance, most 401k sites or 403bs or whatever, you can go on there and find what the performance is of all the funds. Now be careful with that, because just because it's done well might mean it's really risky as well. So don't just say, hey, these are the 5 that did the best over the last 5 years, and that might be fine if you're 25, 35, or 40, but if you're 50 or older, you don't want all your money in these riskier, because if it averages 12%, that also means it probably can drop 12 to 15% in any given year as well, and that could be hard to make up if you're getting closer to retirement for sure. But also the contribution limits is very important. It went up again this year, and very interesting again for our federal listeners. The thrift savings plan, not only do they have a catch-up provision of $7,500 if you're 50 or older, but if you're age 60, 61, 62, or 63, which is kind of weird, you could actually put in another $3,750 a year as well. So again, some of us can't afford to put in the max, but if you can, especially if the kids have flown the coop, and expenses have gone down, it's a great time to catch up with that. But more than anything, just make sure you're putting in your match. If your company has any kind of a match, at least put in that match. That's free money. Please do that. And again, prefer the Roth if you can. But do the match at least.
Yeah, and coming off of that last point, considering contribution limits, check your retirement savings rate. Assess your savings. Are you saving enough per month for retirement? A general rule of thumb is saving 15% of your gross income, but this is, again, a blanket statement. This may need to be adjustment based on your specific goals, your age, when you plan to retire, what you're able to do. Sometimes before we can really get our savings plan in place, we have to do some serious budgeting. And again, if you can increase your contributions, like Mark said, do so.
And it's amazing what we spend money on. I mean, when inflation started ramping up a few years ago, I looked at my own spending and I started saying, do I really need this? Do I need that? I mean, whether it be maybe a streaming channel that I really haven't watched in a long time. Maybe it's something that I get automatically in the mail every month or a subscription. Just shopping and more careful. Throw that money to something else. I mean, we spend a lot of money that we really shouldn't be spending. And I'm not saying don't enjoy life. I'm not saying don't go out to eat. I'm just saying kind of pay more attention to things like that. And you're amazed at how much more money that you would have if we looked at it closer. And I know budget's an ugly word. I'm not saying budget necessarily, okay? I'm just saying just take an examination. If you're a married couple, take a look together and kind of see what's going on and just be more careful.
Perfect. Yep. Number 3, review your retirement goals and timeline. So define your retirement vision. Do you have a clear idea of when you want to retire? What will that lifestyle be? What will it look like? Traveling, working part-time, pursuing hobbies. Knowing your goals will help you to plan better and more effectively.
And this is a great way. So Evan will mention this in here in just a few minutes. Our complimentary consultations, one of the first things we talk about is this discussion of what does your retirement look like? Most couples and individuals have not really thought about that. They just kind of think about, I'd like to retire one day, I'm going to quit work and I'm going to fish. Well, okay, that's a plan. Mm-hmm. But we get deeper into that and what are some meaningful things you can be involved with and where do you see yourself going? Where do you see yourself living? How will your housing change? How will your life change? If you've been working 40 plus years, that's a lot of time to fill. And people think, well, I'm just going to sleep late and do this. I tell you what, that causes bad health. If you just quit life and just do, whatever you want to do every day, that sounds wonderful. But after a while, it can be detrimental to you. So that's why some people thrive in retirement because they have a plan. Other people kind of fade away. And we see it right in front of us many times.
I think we need the 4-day weekend. That would be the perfect amount of time to chill, and then you get back to working really hard, right?
Yep.
So on top of that, once you've determined your retirement vision, then start to estimate, okay, what is that actually going to cost me? How much income will I need to sustain that retirement? And you've got to take into account your housing, your healthcare, your food, travel, any other lifestyle expenses. You should probably speak to a financial professional about that to help organize. You can do it yourself, and there are online tools and calculators, but there's so many unknowns and so many things that are left out. Those calculators, things like that, are in a vacuum, basically, of what they focus on, and there's so many external. Go ahead, actually. You were about to say.
No, I was just going to say, we have a post-retirement budget planner that we can send clients. In fact, if you're listening, we'd be glad to send it to you. Just go to the website and request that. MasterPlanRetire.com. Email us, info@masterplanretire.com, and we'll be glad to send you that. It's a self-calculating worksheet. I think you've got another one you use as well, but you kind of start thinking differently if you figure, okay, I'm not driving to work every day, so maybe I save money on gas, but I am doing this. Maybe I get one fewer haircut per month, which I don't have to worry about that. Maybe certain things you might spend less money on, certain things you may spend more money on, like travel and spending more time with the grandkids, spending money on them or whatever it may be. So it's an adjustment. So you kind of want to get a handle on that a little bit. And a good place to start is what are you spending now, and then begin backing out again the changes and adding in the changes as well, and get a good grip on that number. I'll be honest with you, working with so many clients and seeing so many prospects and clients that come through here, we realize that we never really have a firm handle on that number until after retirement, maybe 6 months later, but at least come close enough so you have an idea.
Yeah. And a lot of these things are what we go through with our clients. We have very specific things we have to look for, but you're bringing it all in under one house and making sure all these things that affect each other are working in accordance with each other efficiently.
And I think that's why it's important to work with somebody that's worked with so many folks like we have. We have experience. This is not just numbers. This is discussions, and this is fine tuning this so that again, things that maybe our clients don't think about until we get into that discussion. Oh, I didn't realize I got Medicare Part B I've got to pay for. That's $180 a month for, and for a married couple, $360 a month that maybe they didn't think about, and then you've got maybe the supplement you're paying for. That's just a very small example of things that could change in retirement. And so again, speaking to somebody like us, we could pull some of that out and say, okay, let's think about this, that, and the other.
Yeah, great. I mentioned this a little bit as a bullet point to number one, but assess your risk tolerance. Make sure that your portfolio is balanced appropriately to where you are on your retirement timeline. We talk to people often who think, well, all my money's my 401k. I've got some pretty conservative funds in there, all this other stuff. So that may be the case, but you do realize 90% of your assets are all at market risk. Regardless of how they're diversified there, it's all in the market. A recession's a recession, a crash is a crash. And so what can you do to make sure that you are, your risk tolerance is reflective of your retirement timeline?
Well, and the other thing to add, and this is a whole show here, is the fact that you need to begin creating what we call buckets of money that can work in retirement. Your 401k is not designed for retirement. Your thrift savings plan is not designed for retirement. It's designed for growth. In retirement, it's about income and protection and being more conservative. And so the accounts look totally different. And the sooner you get started on that, the better. If you're 50 or older, it's time to already begin positioning some of that money so that when you do hit the road of retirement, you are set to go, as opposed to waiting till the week you retire or the month you retire. And so again, it's not about the size of your retirement nest egg. It's how much income can it produce, and we want it to produce the income safely and most efficiently. So it's a totally different look. So don't just think I'm going to fly into retirement, I'm going to leave my 401k at work, I'm just going to take out the money I need. You're taking a lot more risk than you need to be taking. By the way, visit the website. A lot of the information we're talking about, there's a lot of worksheets, there's a lot of resources, a lot of episodes that we have on there. MasterPlanRetire.com. But most importantly, I think, is there's a little green button. It is green, right?
It's green. It's
I'm kind of colorblind.
It's more Celadon. But it is green. That's the type of green.
More importantly, it says schedule a meeting. You press that button and you have our calendar that pops up, and you have the opportunity to schedule time with us that is complimentary, and we will discuss all of what we're discussing now and more. We'll discuss your situation. We'll discuss your worries, your goals, your concerns, the dangers that could be ahead for you, and then we'll run a series of reports for you, again, complimentary, to show where you're at, and then we can help show you how to get where you want to be. Okay, so make sure you do that. It's, again, a lot of people take us up on this. It's a great opportunity to see where you're at, and folks will walk away with a better understanding of what they need to be planning for and how to get to where they want to be. So again, masterplanretire.com, or just give us a call, 770-980-9262, and I believe it's option 2, and you'll be able to schedule a time to, again, meet with one of us and get a better idea of where you stand.
Yeah, great. Reach out, folks. We'd love to hear from you. The next point, review your Social Security benefits.
Good one.
If you've never been on SSA.gov, you just have to put in a little personal information, Social Security number, things like that. But then you can pull up your statement, your estimate of what you expect at certain ages in retirement, what you can pull for Social Security, depending on when you decide to take it. If you don't know or have never done that, go ahead and do it. Check it out. Then try it again, depending on how close you are to retirement. But maybe once a year, see how it's coming along. Yeah.
Yep. And it's not just about the number either. It's about having a strategy. And if you're a couple it's even more complicated. And it's not just about software. I mean, we have great software that can run how to maximize your Social Security, but we have to couple that software with discussions of your feelings and your thoughts, and not only when you're going to retire, but let's say you want to delay Social Security because you want a bigger check. Well, how do you fill the income gap until then? How much more money will it mean to you? But also about life expectancy. That also plays into when to take it. Maybe if you're a married couple again, one takes it earlier, one takes it later. You got to consider survivor benefits, how to increase that. So a lot more to it than just saying, "Hey, I'm retiring next month, and I'm gonna turn it on next month."
Yeah.
That's not a plan. That's just kind of just flipping on a switch. Maybe it's not time to flip that switch on. So again, having a plan, and that's part of what a fiduciary retirement planner does, is they understand we're certified in Social Security planning. So that's one of the certifications we carry, and we understand how it works. And by the way, it changes too, okay? So just when you think you've got it nailed down, it's going to change again. There are changes right now on the horizon. Just had a change a month or two ago when it comes to the windfall elimination provision. Not going to get into that today, but
it's a good change.
It's a great change. Now they're talking about not taxing Social Security. That would be huge. I would love that. We're going to have to make up that money somewhere else, but I would love that. I think that'd be a great thing. I don't think it ever should have been taxed.
Yeah.
It was a tax before, and now we're getting taxed as it comes out. And it affects the people that make the least money the most. I mean, so you're living on, everything you can bring in from Social Security, and then the government's taking part of that back. And I just think that's wrong. But yeah, definitely have a plan. And again, it needs to be more than just, oh, by the way, don't turn it on because you're afraid that it's going away, because that has no effect one way or the other. And by the way, it's not going away, okay? And I don't even think benefits will be cut. I am 99.9% sure that there will be no change in your benefits at all. Congress is going to get this fixed. By the way, if you got anybody that's in Congress that's listening, please get to work on this, okay? And I know behind the scenes they are working on it. There's a lot of suggestions out there. It's in committee. They're talking about it, but it's a hot potato. They don't want to be seen as the party or the person that messed up something. So, but they are working on it. It's not going away. The trust fund is running out of money, but they're going to fix that as well. There's enough taxes coming in to cover at least 83% of the payments. If the trust fund goes away in 2035, I think it's the latest number I heard. But they're going to fix it. It's going to get fixed. And I don't think they're going to be cutting benefits. They might maybe raise the retirement age, some other things. Again, another show for another day. But don't turn it on because of fear.
Yeah. And I know we're really talking a lot about Social Security, but that's because, again, there's not just a one and done decision to consider it. When do you want it or anything else like that? Everything moves together so well. And like you said earlier, if there's a couple, determine who's to pull first, maybe let one grow and turn on the other. But also, if you've got retirement accounts, specifically tax-deferred retirement accounts, you're considering, okay, what is my withdrawal strategy going to be like? That's something else to consider. How's that going to work with Social Security in your income plan? Should we spend down some tax-deferred money now? Are taxes going to be increased in the future? We seem to feel that they will be, almost assuredly. But there's a lot more at stake than just saying, well, it's time to turn it on because I'm retired.
It's almost like an orchestra. And so one bad instrument can throw off the entire music, but Social Security is the whole brass section. So it's definitely has to be paid attention to. But then the percussion section is like taxes, and that's got to be in sync with the brass. I know this is a weird example, but I love using weird examples.
We'll
but
hone it down
really, but even one instrument being out, but definitely these bigger areas have to come together and be coordinated to make sure, again, that you're maximizing the efficiency of your retirement and the financial part, and also allowing you, if you desire, to leave a great legacy as well.
Next point: eliminate retirement debt. Pay down your debt. Aim to enter retirement with as little debt as possible, paying down high interest debts like credit cards, things like that. Ensuring your mortgage is manageable before retiring can relieve financial stress in retirement.
Yeah, and let your mortgage be the last thing you pay down. And if you've got a great rate, I wouldn't even worry about paying it down. I mean, if you get the old rates from 2 3/4 to 3.5 or 4, I wouldn't even pay extra money on that. And by the way, this is not a recommendation, and everybody's different. And if it makes you feel good, pay it down. But that would be the last thing I'd throw money at. I'd rather throw money into a retirement account making 7 to 11%, as opposed to paying down a debt that's at 3%. Again, everybody's different. Every situation is different. This is a discussion we have with every client. But think about that before you start throwing so much money towards your house. Now you have a house paid for, but you've got all this equity in it. How are you going to use it? It's locked into the house. Yeah. And so I'd rather have money in the bank, money in the IRA, more so than having the house totally paid off, but definitely on the higher, like you said, higher interest rates, cars, credit cards, things like that. Definitely get rid of that before retirement.
I think we're going to have a part 2 of this episode for retirement spring cleaning, because we're about halfway through. But we did mention this next point a little bit before, at least the consideration of tax planning. But consider a Roth IRA conversion and overall your tax strategy and how you're approaching that for your retirement.
Yeah, and probably should say Roth conversions, because we like to do it over a period of time. Every year we'll sit down with our clients and we'll say, okay, what can we convert without throwing us into too high of a tax bracket? Maybe they had to take money out of their IRA to put on a new roof. So now they've kind of pushed themselves up into a higher tax bracket. Also have to consider the cost of Medicare. Medicare Part B is based on your income. That price can go up based on conversions of IRAs to Roths. But still, we want to try to attack that. We want more of that tax-free money. As Evan has said before, your IRA 401k has a mortgage on it, okay? You owe taxes on it. We just don't know how much and when, okay? So the more of that we can get out of the IRA into a Roth or a Roth type investment, you will be free from the IRS in retirement, and that's got to be a great feeling.
And it's nothing worthwhile doesn't take a little bit of effort. Nothing that is good is just an easy solution most of the time.
A little bit of pain now.
A little bit of pain, and honestly, especially with the IRMA, for those of us who are in higher tax brackets, those of you who are in higher tax brackets, even if you have to pay more on Medicare for a couple of years, think about that compared to 25 plus years of lower taxes for your retirement income.
Yep, and especially when you, as you know, at age 73, you have to start taking money out of your IRAs. You don't have to start taking money out of your Roth. And even if you did, there's no taxes on it. And so if you're forced to take out a certain amount, and that can be a pretty large amount as you age, because that amount goes up every year, that's a forced taxation. And then your kids or grandkids or whoever inherits that IRA, over a 10-year period of their life, they have to take money out of their IRA that they inherited from you. What's their tax bracket? Well, they're probably working. If it's a married couple, your kid and a son or daughter-in-law, they're maybe both working. They may already be in a 22% tax bracket. Now they're having to take out $50,000 a year. Well, that sounds good. Hey, I got $50,000. Adds to your tax bracket. Yeah. Roth, tax-free coming out. So again, it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. And I think as people progress into retirement, they're going to be so thankful for every dollar they were able to convert into a Roth.
It's another good reason to start your retirement planning on the earlier side, because if you're 65 and you're already taking Medicare, those conversions are going to hit a little bit harder than they would have a few years prior to that, to where it's not going to affect IRMA, things like that. I mean, we've helped people in their 70s plus. We've helped people who are in late 20s. So, you know, there's no age limit to when you should start thinking about retirement. But we do know age 55-ish is a good time. If you haven't started having that conversation with a professional, that's a really good time to do it. But again, the earlier you can start considering these things, especially in a tax planning realm, the sooner you can start those conversions. And also, if you're working, putting money into tax-free accounts, less into the tax-deferred.
I think what's great to see, too, is more people are realizing that it's time to transition from an investor person or an advisor, transition into a true retirement planner. You know, the person down at the bank that's an investment advisor, they just want to invest your money. They don't have the full planning capabilities. So good time to transition to that. So we are running out of time. There will be a part 2 to this, but until that time comes or we see you again, remember, plan well and prosper. Take care.